and this is our live video. I've been calling it Live with Sara. And just in case you don't know, every Tuesday at 9:30 a.m. Mountain Time, we do a live video from our Facebook page over on Posh Pooch Designs. And then I always put it on YouTube as well, because some of my followers prefer YouTube and some prefer Facebook. So I just try to make everyone happy if I can. Today I've got my cup. I was going through my, good morning. I was going through my, good morning, Karen. I was going through, stuttering. All right, let me think. I was going through my cabinet where I have all my coffee cups, and I came across this one, and I'm not sure where I got it from, but it sure does look like the Colorado mountains and the pine trees, doesn't it? I think maybe I got it from someone in Washington State, but I'm not sure. Clink in, Michelle and Karen and anybody else who's out there. Well, I hope everyone had a wonderful, wonderful Memorial Day. And I say wonderful because even though it's the day that we celebrate the death of many of our men and women, soldiers, as well as family members, it's also a day to celebrate and celebrate their lives. And that's the way that I choose to look at it. Because we're a military family. My father-in-law served in the Air Force. My husband's retired Air Force. My son was in the Air Force. And my uncle, my husband's uncle, Red McDaniel, was a Navy pilot. He actually spent 7 years in a POW camp in Vietnam. So we're a very military family, and we love our freedom. And that's the way that I choose to look at it for Memorial Day, is a celebration of their lives and their sacrifices so I could be free. That's why I got my silly Uncle Sam hat on today. If you want to get one of these, I got it at the Dollar Tree. So anyway, my phone decided to ring all of a sudden. I'll just turn it over. If you've got your coffee, clink in. Well, today I decided to do, good morning, Anita and Julie. I didn't see you pop in there. Sometimes they go so fast I don't catch you, so I really want to say hello to everybody. So everybody, hello, and I hope I can get you by name. All right, so what I want to do today is I've got a list of questions that I have that aren't, they're not great big questions that need to take like a whole 30-minute live video or anything. Just a couple of questions I wanted to touch on. Some of them are silly, and it's okay. I like silly questions. And some of them might be silly to me but important to you, or important to me and silly to you. And that's okay because we're all a bunch of sillies, and you know we like to have a good time. So the first few questions, which I'm going to have to pop on my glasses because I have them on a piece of paper. All right, I do not like the glare, so I'm going to put them down. All right. Do I look like Betsy Ross? All right, the first three questions are about my dogs. And the first question I got about a week ago, and it says, why does Rosie always look like she's going to cry? And Rosie is my red puppy. She's asleep on the blanket down there, so I won't get her up. But Rosie is the red one. And a lot of times her eyes do look very watery. And the reason is when we adopted her, good morning, Susie. I didn't see you pop in there. When we adopted her, she was about 12 weeks old, very malnourished. She didn't even weigh a pound. And she had what's called cherry eye. And what it is dogs have an eyelid, but they also have a clear eyelid that goes across their eye. And it's just a protection mechanism, and they can live without them. Well, what happens is they become really red, and it becomes like it almost looks like a bright red thing across their eye. A lot of breeds of dogs like Basset Hounds and Beagles, and some of the dogs that have the faces where their eyes kind of droop, they're more prone to it. But also dogs who are inbred a lot, which we have a feeling when we rescued Rosie from where we got her from, that might have been what had happened. Good morning, Lisa. That's my sister. Glad to see you. But anyway, she had that with her eye, and so we had to have that removed, and that's why her eyes look watery all the time. All right, so the second question is, why does Maximo squint all the time? He does. And the reason that he squints all the time is he has really bad eyes. And any light, good morning, Tammy. Any light or sunshine, like a camera light, the flash, it causes him to squint. And sometimes he looks like he's winking at you. But it's okay. All right. He's still fine. He can see okay, so don't worry about that. Okay, so the last question about my dogs is, why don't my dogs smile? Well, if you know anything about dogs, dogs don't smile. They don't smile like we do. They wiggle their little tails and their little butts, and sometimes their eyes light up, but they do not smile. Sometimes you may catch a funny picture of a dog, and they will have a smile, but it's not an actual smile. It just happens to be a facial expression that you catch. All right, now before we go on to the crochet questions, I want to show you Maximo. He's sitting right behind me here. Come here, buddy. Come here. Because you know he was really, really sick, and he's doing so good now, and I'm so happy that he's well. No more problems. See, he's really happy. His tail's wagging back here, but he's not smiling at you. He's got his little grin on, huh? See his little teeth? Well, I wanted to grab him and show you that this is one of the patterns that we did for Memorial Day, because it's just a little flag collar with a little blue field and a white star. And I'll talk about that more later, but I wanted to show you that one and show you Maximo that he's doing really, really good. Good morning, Trish. I didn't see you pop in there. Now remember, if you've got your coffee, clink in. Clink. All right, so let's get on to our other questions. All right, so I've got a couple of crochet questions, and some of them are so silly and some of them are not. The first question that came in was, is crochet only for old ladies? Well, I think not. Well, I am getting up there in my 50s, but I am not an old lady, okay? And actually, crochet is an art. And I learned to crochet when I was like 14 or 15. And so it's not just for old ladies. Good morning, Stacy. But anyway, we know, those of us who crochet, that crochet is not for old ladies. And let's get the word out. It's okay for old ladies to crochet, but it's not only for old ladies. All right, so another question. If you crochet, people automatically assume that you knit also. Is that true? Well, I do knit, but not everyone does. Susie says she's 51. That's right. She's not an old lady either. There we go. Alexandra, hello. She says she's in her 30s. Crochet is an art, and you can learn it at any age. And I really suggest that if your kids have a tendency towards bright colors and art, teach them to crochet. So anyway, the second question was, do people assume that because you knit, you crochet? And it's not really true. Some people who knit, it's a different type of an art. Plus, you're using 2 needles opposed to 1 hook. But it doesn't automatically assume that. Now, I do knit and crochet, but I prefer crochet over knit just because I like the way I can manipulate it. So anyway, that was question number 2. Don't let people assume just because you knit that you crochet as well. Okay, third question. I bought or found a great pattern, but the designer made it with red yarn. Can I make it with blue? Well, that's kind of a silly question to me, but a lot of people don't understand that you can change any colors. I mean, look at all these colors behind me. You can go with solids, you can go with variegated. The main thing is that you stay within your weight. In other words, here's a good example. I've got a big yarn of ombre, big skein of ombre, red heart that they sent me, okay? And this is a worsted weight number 4. Now, if I wanted to use this, say, for this sweater that I'm wearing and crochet one in red, but I wanted to use the ombre and crochet it in the blue shades, you can, as long as you stay within your weight class. But if you go to a larger or smaller weight group or class, it's going to change your pattern. So make sure you stick within the weight that it tells you to. Now remember, again, everybody crochets differently. Hi, Skippy. Oh, I like that name. Anyway, just remember that you need to stay in your right crochet yarn group weight. Lost my train of thought. Stay within your yarn weight, and your pattern should work out pretty much the same, just in your colors. But if you change the weight, like you go down to a 3 or go up to a 6, it's not going to work out the same. So keep that in mind. Good morning, Petra. But keep that in mind when you're working. And remember, what is it I always say? Your tape measure is your most important tool in your crochet bag. And it is, because even if you make it with the same yarn, it may not measure the same. So make sure you measure as you go. All right, so the next question is, I don't have the right crochet hook the pattern is calling for. Can I use a bigger or smaller hook? When a pattern designer designs a pattern, he or she designs it with a specific hook. Now, if you, like me, like I always say, I'm a loose hooker. I crochet looser. And my daughter crochets tighter. Good morning, Tammy. Glad you're here. Be sure and check your gauge or your measurements, because if you decide to go with a larger hook, remember, your stitches are going to be a little bit bigger. And if you decide to go with a smaller hook, your stitches are going to be a little bit tighter. So it may not work out the same. But if you want to use the bigger or smaller hook, you can. But remember, again, measure as you go, because your tape measure is the most important tool next to your hook and yarn in your tool bag. Okay? So, it's kind of up to you. A lot of times when I'm starting a new pattern that's somebody else's pattern, and I've never done it before, because I am a looser hooker, I will go down a hook size and use a little tighter hook to see if it works, and then I'll measure, because I am a looser hooker. If you're a tighter hooker, you can go up a hook size, and again, measure as you go. Okay? All right, we've got one more question, and then we'll talk about some new stuff. I cannot afford the expensive yarns. Is it okay if I buy the inexpensive or cheap yarns? Yes! Especially if you're working on something new. Now, I have a lot of really expensive yarns, and some of them I have not used them yet because I'm saving them for specific patterns or for specific gifts or something. But you all know I love Red Heart yarns. They've been so good to me, and I love Hobby Lobby's. I love this yarn, and the Red Heart Soft and the Hobby Lobby I Love This yarn are a lot of like. They're very soft. The colors are vibrant and bright, and they're great yarns, and especially if you're just learning, because there's nothing more frustrating than to crochet something and have to pull it out, or frog, rip, 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 ribbit, as we say. And when you do that, because you bought a very expensive and delicate yarn, you destroy the yarn. And that's heartbreaking. I've done that. And if you love yarn like I do, it can be very heartbreaking. So, this is my suggestion. I love using the inexpensive yarns. You can get some beautiful, beautiful yarns that are not real expensive and make some wonderful, wonderful things. Like I repeat, I love Red Heart yarns, and I love this hobby. I love this yarn from Hobby Lobby. I love both of those yarns. They're good quality yarns. They wash up well. But my thing is I try. I'm not going to say I don't. I try not to put any of my crochet items through the dryer. Now, I'll wash them on gentle with a tiny bit. This is just what I do. If I'm going to wash anything that I've crocheted, I put it in the wash machine on gentle with a tiny bit of Dawn Blue Basic Classic dish soap. Tiny bit. Squirt. That's it. And then like about a half a teaspoon of white vinegar. And then I wash them on gentle. Then I don't put them in the dryer if I can help it. Now, if I need it quick, like the dogs threw up on their blanket or something, if I need it quick, then I will put it in the dryer. But most of the time, I just lay it over the banister off my back deck. And sometimes they blow off and I have to go downstairs and get them, but it's okay. But I think, you can wash and dry your acrylic things. Now, remember, if you wash your wool things, you're going to felt it. I think I've probably told you all that watch my videos often the same story about how my daughter-in-law, before my son and her were married, she bought him a beautiful wool sweater. and it was his favorite sweater. He wore it all the time. He spilled coffee on it, and he said, "Mom, can you wash my sweater?" I'm like, "Sure, just throw it in." So I threw it in the wash, and then it went into the dryer, and it came out, and it was about this big. I told him, I think she put it on one of her teddy bears that he got her. I felt so bad. I think I ended up buying him a new sweater. I can't remember. So don't put your wool items in the wash machine. Unless you want to felt them. Now, I have felted stuff on purpose, but mostly on accident. All right. Tammy, did you clink in? I didn't see you clink in. Now, remember, when we clink in, it's with coffee. All right, so that's our questions and answers today. I didn't want to do anything real in-depth today since a lot of you are just getting, back from Memorial Day weekend, and it's been fun and stuff. So, all right, so what is new this week at Posh Pooch Designs? Well, I showed you the little collar that I made for Maximo and Rosie. Here's Rosie's. It's just and the thing is, if you make this longer, you can make it into a headband because it's just a band. Or if you make it shorter, you can make it into a wristband. So it's just a little basic pattern, and it's a free pattern on my blog, and it's also on my YouTube channel. Okay, so then the other thing we did this week was this. Let's see if I can hold it over here. This is a wind sock, and I wrote this pattern quite a few years ago, and then I remembered I had this. This is Americana yarn from Red Heart. It's Red Heart Super Saver, so it's great for putting outside. It's a good sturdy yarn, but it's not real stiff. It's a good sturdy yarn, but it has a natural striping in it that stripes red and white, and then it goes to this blue with a little bit of white in it so that it almost resembles the filled up blue with white stars, and then it has red and white stripes again, and it just goes over and over again. And that's why some of these are whirly jigs on the bottom. It's hang this up in your tree, and it's just beautiful. But you don't have to make it out of this color. I just did because it was Memorial Day weekend. So you can use any worsted weight yarn to make this. And that, again, is a free pattern on my blog. And, oh, it's 11:30 where she is. Where Susie is. Okay, cool. I like to hear where everybody's at. So anyway, this is just, you can use any worsted weight yarn for this that you want. All right, and then a new pattern that's going to be coming out this week is just I haven't named this hat yet. Maybe you can help me. Well, I got 2 new yarns from Red Heart. They sent me this Red Heart stripes, and I think the color of this, yeah, flamingo stripe. It's beautiful. It's purples and pinks. And then they also sent me an ombre. Now this ombre is in the blue, and they also sent me a green. And I've got that going with another project. But this is the little hat. It's just a little textured hat. And this is the child size. And then I also made it with the ombre. And I want you to see how the ombre works. This one is the green, it's called mint ombre. Where this ombre one is blue. But I want you to kind of see how it works. This is left over from another project. And that's why I just did the one hat. But this is going to be a new pattern. It'll be on my blog, on Ravelry, on YouTube, probably maybe next Monday, depending on what happens through the week and how much time that I have. So and that's what's new. Now, the ombre yarns from Red Heart and the striped yarns, these are new colors from Red, is that upside down? From Red Heart. They're new. They are worsted weight number 4s, but they are new yarns from Red Heart that they sent me to test. And you can find those now at Joann's. And they should be coming to Michael's soon. I don't know that Hobby Lobby is going to get them, and I don't know about the other craft stores. And I did hear that Walmart should be getting them also, but it might be July before they get them. So just a heads up, they are on the Red Heart website, and they had a good sale over the weekend. So I hope you went and got some. But AC Moore has them. See, I don't have an AC Moore here. I don't even know where they're located, but if I ever get in an area where they are, I'm going to go look at AC Moore because I've never been to one. All right, so those are our questions for our live video chat today. Those are the new items and the new yarns, and that's all I've got today. And I didn't want to do a great big long in-depth video chat today. I just wanted to have a little fun, answer a few questions. I'm so happy to see that you all joined me today, especially my sister Lisa. She lives in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and I live in Colorado, so we don't get to see each other very often, so it's neat to kind of see her online. All right, everybody. God bless you. God bless America. And I hope to see you next Tuesday.